Healing is more than a hashtag.
Healing is more than a journey. It's a lifestyle.
Healing is prioritizing your well-being.
Healing is about taking the journey within.
Healing is growing through our painful moments.
Healing is gratitude for another beautiful day.
Healing is gratitude for another beautiful day. Like, who wouldn't want to end something on that, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what I tell myself every day for my own well-being.
We just sit for a moment right there, like healing is gratitude for another. Like, that's a beautiful place to open up on, right? Just to take a deep breath on. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everybody. You're tuned in to episode 2 of More Than a Hashtag podcast. We're checking in about the truth behind the healing, right? We know that everyone's putting the hashtag healing, healing, taking pictures and selfies and healing. Healing is ugly. Healing hurts. It's painful. So we're going to talk about the painful things and the things that hurt in order for us to grow, right? Like, imagine we're on a stage and we're pulling back the curtains and we're saying, hey, this is what healing really looks like. And if you make the commitment to do it, you're going to be hurt a little bit. And that's okay, because in our hurt, in our pain, we grow, right? And we move forward and we go on, right? So I am Steph Jones, also known as Lilac Calandra. I am a marriage and family therapist and a mindfulness life coach. And I have taken a vow and I've made a commitment to helping others find and be the best versions of themselves. I am one of the amazing co-hosts here. I'm going to pass it over to my other co-host, and then we're going to jump right into our topic.
Yes, all of that awesomeness, that goodness, that Black girl magic, that is her, that is also me. My name is Lakeisha J. Rigg. I am career coach, mental health advocate, among other hats that I wear. And similarly, I'm just committed to helping us heal and just live the lives that we were meant to live. That's it. Period.
That's it. Like, that's life, right? That we go through things, we experience things, but if you make a commitment to heal, and then you make a commitment to help others heal, like, yo, you're in it. You're right in the mud. You're right in the quicksand. So it is October. October is full of so many different things. It is World Mental Health Awareness Month. It is Infant Loss Awareness Month, but it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we wanted to take the moment to really advocate and encourage and support those who are domestic violence victims, and really celebrate and give big ups and claps to those who have survived domestic violence. There are some who didn't make it out, but there are those who really survived. So we want to talk about that from a lot of different angles. From the adult side, we both work in the school system, so we're going to talk about what happens with that, and really just kind of share some tips on how to navigate through domestic violence, and really how to heal and flow through it, right? It does something to you. It's tough on the body, it's tough on the mind. So we want to make sure that we're just growing through it, and making sure that you're supported, right? If you're a domestic violence victim currently or survivor, we are here with you, right? We support you. Like, you made it through and you're wading through that and you're pushing through, and we're praying for your strength and encouragement to keep pushing and keep going, right? You didn't lay down and you didn't say, I'm going to give up. You keep going. If you have children, like, you're going. And so we commend you, and we really raise our hands and celebration and claps and all that, because that's nothing to talk about. I do want to get into first, though, Lakeisha, behind backstage, in our green room, we were talking about youth who experience domestic violence. Maybe let's go from youth and then up to adulthood, because usually domestic violence victims and survivors will mention that it's something that happened in their youth, right? So let's talk about from the youth. Before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to our other amazing co-host, Mona, who couldn't make it today. If she doesn't want to pop on, we'll add her on. We love you.
Love you
and all that. But look, the wheel has to keep going, right? If I wasn't here, if Lakeisha wasn't here, the purpose of healing still has to push forward. So we're going forward. And she's here in spirit. So let's jump into youth. You're in the school system. You worked with youth in different capacities. What have you seen in regards to domestic violence and what that looks like in our youth?
Yeah. So, Steph, I think just the type of conversations that I hear the toxicity. Within my classroom, one of the things that I say is, I can't control you outside of my classroom. But when you're in my classroom, we have to speak to each other kindly. I'm not letting nobody call nobody the N word or the B word. I said, I don't operate like that. Okay. So just from when I hear their language and the way that they talk with to each other and speak with each other, and then sometimes, like want to, hit each other. It's like, oh, miss, we just playing. So I see those things and I nip it in the bud. I said, no, don't do that. Don't talk to him like that.
Right.
Don't talk to her like that. Be kind to her and vice versa. So, I see those type of things that lends itself to the likelihood of outside of the class, this toxicity in the way that they talk to each other. And then the violence that's so-called playful. I don't know. Don't hit her. Don't hit him. We're not doing that. So from my perspective, those are some of the things that I observed that really bother me that I speak to. I teach content.
Mm-hmm.
Content, I believe it's very important as a village for us to teach the kids life lessons. And that includes, but is not limited to, how we interact with each other. So that's part of what I see on a regular basis that I address.
That's real. And just in the conversation, it's like when youth, because in the high school, in the middle school, in any age, we do see youth hitting each other back and forth. And at a certain point, you normalize hitting. If there aren't teachers and educators who are like you, like, no, don't do that, you normalize that. Okay, they're just playing. If someone's hitting me, you start to not be able to distinguish, is this someone abusing me or is this someone just playing with me? So right, keep your hands to yourself. Don't hit anybody, playfully or not. I mean, we in my high school, we had to have a band. We had like a play fighting band, because you can't distinguish between, is this someone really doing something to me that isn't good, or are they just playing? So, then you mentioned the conversations. I'm like, hearing how they speak to each other, like, girl, I'm like, this is abuse. Like, and you guys don't realize it. We have normalized this. We have in our society where we have Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and people are reckless in the comments. They're abusive in the comments. Sometimes you numb yourself to it, and so you're like, I'll just take it. No, don't do that. That's not it.
No, yeah, girl. I am not here to be abused. No, I'm not gonna go back and forth. Now, one of the things that I tell my students is, I'm not going back and forth with you. I said what I said, respectfully. So I'm not gonna go back and forth, but I will let it be known, in person, online, or otherwise, that I'm not going to take your abuse. And, that's just not, no. I'm working on healing. And part of that is knowing that I deserve to be treated well. And I want that for everybody.
Correct. That's it. And I really feel like, depending on the house you grew up in and your family unit and what happened, right? Now we're getting into some of that mental health kind of therapeutic, kind of like, ooh,
yeah.
If you're talking, to someone who's been through domestic violence, right? Who is either in it or survived it, you realize that abuse started at a very young age. Like, that started when you were a child.
Yeah.
It started when you were a kid, from your mom, your dad, whoever, right? Started talking to you in a certain way, or physically abusing you, emotionally abusing you. And you begin to say, this is the way that it just should be in general. Like, this is how it is. This is how it is. And what we really see is that you start saying, this is my life. And then you usually end up in a romantic relationship or in a friendship with those who abuse you, because in your family, you're like, why wouldn't this be normal? Why would this be something that I'm not able to say, okay, this is something different? You're in your family unit. You really don't know until you get out of your family unit. Maybe you move away from your family. Maybe you encounter another family, like you go over a friend's house, right? So that's what I'm starting to see in adults, but then it starts right where we are, right with the youth.
Yeah.
You plant the seed of abuse and it begins to grow and it blooms like a huge flower. So I really want us to focus more on that as a society, the domestic violence numbers that are increasing in our schools. You know what I mean? And Like I'm thinking like, okay, what should educators look out for? Like what have you seen? You know what I mean? Like what are some signs that you've seen that you know someone's really in like an abusive relationship?
Yeah, some of the signs, among others, that I see is saying things like, Miss, that's just how we talk to each other. So when I do address something that they're saying that, I deem to be inappropriate or unkind or hurtful and things along those lines, and I'll say, we don't talk like that in this class. And they'll be like, but Miss, that's just how we talk to each other, normalizing it. And so, that's one of the things that I can see, this is what they're used to. As you said, it starts in the household. This likely is what they have seen modeled to them in the household of how, you talk to a boy, how you talk to a girl, how you talk to a male, female, whatever. And so they'll take what they've learned, right? Because the teaching starts in the household. Prior to coming into an educational institution, when you're in your household environment, whatever you learn, whatever is modeled for you is what you'll bring in. So I have, students who talk kindly to each other. They give a side eye to the students that's being disrespectful. If like they look at me like, oh my gosh, Miss, I don't know why they sounded like that, because I don't know about that. Like I could tell that there are ones who have been in a household where they've seen modeled behavior that is healthy, if you will, generally speaking. So the ones that are, saying things that are, like abusive or like just hurtful kind of. And one of the things too that kind of blows my mind is that they don't necessarily realize what they're saying sometimes is hurtful. They don't seem always conscious about it. They're looking at me like weird when I say, why would you say that? Oh, Miss, that's nothing. So those are some of the things, yes, sometimes they'll do the hitting, and that makes me think they're used to hitting and not, violent that way. But I'm more conscious of the things that they say that they don't even realize that are, kind of indicative of something broken, a mindset. So that's what I'm feeling.
Yikes. Because how can you fix it if you don't even know it's broken? If you've said this is just the normal way it should be, you can end up in 30, 40 years of abusive relationships, like starting from young, right? Like you can end up,
Exactly.
it's a cycle that you just stay in, and then you realize like, okay, I'm in this cycle. And until something comes to interrupt your bicycle path, knocks you off your bike,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even know, right? Like I've never been in a domestic violence situation, but I did need to leave my family, and I did need to go to Miami. I needed to go to my school because I wanted to see other things. I wanted to get out of my family unit. I had to break out because I wanted to see different parts of life. And there was so much growth and there was so much healing that happened there. Unless you do that, right? Unless you move away from the unit that you're in, you there are people who have been in domestic violence relationships for 50 years.
Right.
Like you just end up staying, and it's hard and it's difficult. And I feel for everybody who's there. I'm glad we have this month, right?
Mm.
It's really a celebration, right?
Right.
That we're celebrating the survivors who are still here with us. We're also pre-celebrating and making sure to have that whole way of clapping for those who are in it. Like we want you to have the courage to come out, and we want you
Right.
to know your worth, right? To know your
Right.
worth, and to know that you deserve to be in a healthy and whole relationship. Like that can be very difficult to navigate.
Absolutely. And, I wouldn't classify what I've endured in childhood as domestic violence, but I would classify as some type of assault. I'll leave it at that. But what I will say with that experience, to your point, when you've gone through something and that's all you know, it is important to, hard though, but important to see something else. And because, the Lord has made me in such a way that I have been, since the time I was younger, someone who always kind of sought out different, gone to different, states to do like a school program or something. So in my sort of adventurous spirit, if you will, and I've been like that, I've been able to see other people and things that are, healthier if you will, so that from my younger experiences, it helped me to see how I can have a good, healthy experience, right? I had something modeled, because modeling doesn't have to be at your home or at your childhood or whatever. It's whatever we see that we aspire to, and then we do the work. So, in my Caribbean household, I definitely felt love. And at the same time, some of the normalized toxicity, if you will, like, I'll just say it like that. So, with that being said, like you said, you went away. I went away for my own reasons too, And so with all of it, be it, culturally, you want to do something different, as well as, the experiences that I had as a young girl. I'm glad that I had that time away. Because like you said, when people are in relationships, domestic violent relationships, or anything that may seem, they're similar to it, even though it's not classified as such, you have that type of trauma. And it's all you see and all you know. The work needs to be done, hard as it is, to be able to work towards that healing. And if we don't do that, we stay in these patterns, and we end up back in the same type of relationships. And so I knew from a young age, I said, Lord, help me to figure out a way. And I'm, like you said earlier at the onset, for the survivors or those going through it, we right here are with you and support you and celebrate you. So yeah, that's what I had to say about that.
Yeah, it's just true. It's like, I started thinking when you were talking, I'm like, we talk about external domestic violence relationships, but a lot of us are domestically violent to our own selves. A lot of us are actually DV survivors, and we didn't really like, when you were mentioning, I'm like, hold on, like, my thoughts start rolling. If you don't take the time to do the work, you will begin to beat yourself up. Your abuser doesn't need to punch you anymore, or speak over you nastily anymore, or tear you down anymore. We will be the ones who knock our own selves down. We will be the ones to speak bad to ourselves. We'll be the ones looking in the mirror, calling ourselves dumb and idiotic. We'll be the ones emotionally, mentally, and spiritually abusing ourselves if we don't do the work. And that is why it makes it so much easier to get into this cycle of abuse, right? If you have a home, if we're talking about anywhere on the diaspora, we're talking about Africans from the continent, we're talking about West Indians, we're talking about African American, we're talking about everybody who is on the diaspora, right? Because that's what we are. We can only speak from that perspective, right? So there are some things that are normalized, and love looks very different in these different communities. Like, no, someone might not say they love you, but they'll make food for you. You know what I mean? They might not hug you, but they'll make sure you have school clothes and this, that. And it's like, we have to look at what that looks like to navigate through places that we feel like, okay, we haven't been loved. And am I looking for love in the wrong places? And that's what I see. I'm taking it right back to the schoolyard, the schoolhouse. Are we looking for love in all the wrong places because we haven't received the love at home? So I'm going to accept this love, even though this love hurts, baby. This love is painful. Ouch. But I'm going to accept this love because I haven't received the love that I want, and I haven't received the love at home, and everywhere I go, I'm rejected. So I'm going to take this love, even though it's killing me, literally, it's taking me out. I'm going to accept this love. And it's like, unless we take the step to do the work, through therapy, through a life coach, group work, through just admitting that we need help and assistance. Like, I'm not healed from that. Unless we do that, cycle spins and spins. And what happens when you spin? You get dizzy, you fall down. You really can't walk forward. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's it right there. Look, you saying a whole word. Like, I'm just listening to you and thinking like, yeah, like we kind of see what we grow up into. And like you said, love is shown in different ways. So, like you said, whether you making somebody some food, or I don't know, West Indian style, you saying some kind of backhanded compliment, and you're like, okay, I don't even know. Okay.
Should I say yes? Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly, like we learn to accept certain things because that's how it's shown as love. And so kind of to your point, as I've gotten older and I've done the work, I have learned to extend grace to people who I know culturally they mean well, if you will, but at the same time, depending on how it hits me and my spirit, to separate myself from it if it's something that is bothersome. So it's like I could be cool with somebody and be grateful at their way of showing love on their journey while simultaneously disconnecting from it if it doesn't fit me well. And I love how you were talking about we have to do the work because we could be telling ourselves that we're bad or whatever. So then the person that has abused us, be it, specifically domestic violence or in some other way, we have to speak life over ourselves. And that's one of the key things that I have done as I've been on this healing journey, right? I have, even and as I've been in a sort of more healed space than before, I don't ever stop it. I tell myself things with regularity, like, I'm enough, or I don't deserve to be burnt out, because one of the things of my culture is work, work, and work some more. And so I have learned to say things like, you know what? I need some rest. Rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So I speak over myself, and that's what I want for us as a community to do more of speaking over ourselves, so that, as we've been touching on, so we're not like abusing ourselves, or we're not tearing things down, that we've separated ourselves from, say, a person, but it's not the person. We can continue to dig a hole and do stuff bad if we don't build ourselves up. So I'm very big into that intentionality of affirmations, speaking life. I do that on a regular basis because, baby, even you healed or healing or whatever, life be lifing. And sometimes I'm like, whew, I am enough. I am beautiful.
Come on.
Yeah, that's it.
We have to do that. And speaking of that, I mean, when we wrap up, like at the end, I do want us to say a few affirmations, to those dealing with domestic violence, whether you're in it now or you have come out of it, because it's one thing to admit that you're in it, and then it's a whole nother thing to come out of it. And in any abusive relationship, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's physical, emotional, sexual, like any abusive relationship, it's the aftermath that will get you, right? It's the aftermath of you saying, I'm going to leave this situation. I'm going to leave this space. I'm going to leave this relationship that is abusing me. I'm going to leave this job because jobs can cause domestic violence. I mean, okay.
Yeah. I'm a whole career coach out here. And one of the things that I do in my practice is not just, help you get a job in your resume, but really help people to make sure that they are in a healthy workspace and they're balancing that wellness, because, baby, jobs, they will work you. And, when you are not doing well, you might be lucky if you get a greeting card saying wish you well. I'm just keeping it real. You got to take care of you.
You have to take care of you. I mean, we can see it on our job, right? Shoot, we got a real life career coach right here saying, like, it's not just about getting the job, but you need to make sure that the environment that you're in is healthy and safe, and that you're not being abused in that environment. We see that in our churches as well, right? Spiritual abuse, we see all of that. So it is a broad spectrum of what is going on, and how we need to make sure that we're not in these cycles and circles that are going to keep us abused, because something happens to the brain, to the mind, to the body, to the spirit when you've been in an abusive space. I mean, you begin to look at yourself differently. So when you mention affirmations, I'm like, absolutely, because we have to speak over ourselves. Why? We have to combat all of the negative self-talk that our abusers have taught us. It's just a training. It's just a preparation that I'm going to speak to you in a way. I'm going to physically assault you. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm just training you how to do it to yourself. Don't worry. When I'm gone, you will be your own abuser. We got to break that cycle. And affirmations help us to cut clean through that fog, that I hear this negative self-talk, that you watching now, watching later, share it. This is shared with you, and you're a domestic violence survivor. You're in it. You know what I mean? People know you're in a tough situation. They want you to get out, but you're not finding the courage. All of that. These affirmations and these things and spaces and all these tips and tools, we want to cut through the fog, right? Abuse causes a fog on your mind. It causes your brain to be a little addled. You don't know up from down, in from out, right? Your reality is shifted and changed. And when you come out of the fog, it is like you have to relearn yourself again. You have to shift your entire identity, because when you're in an abusive relationship, your identity becomes your abuse, that you tailor and you cater to your abuser. You walk on eggshells. You make sure that you're perfect, you're pristine. And even that's not enough sometimes. They'll find some way, if they'll find some way to say you're not doing it right. When you come out of that, I feel like I want to cry, because I'm like, ooh, when you come out of that abusive space, making sure that you have the support. It's like a bandage. When you get a wound, you better make sure you have that bandage on that wound, or it's going to get infected. Your support team, your support system is your bandage to wrap you up. Above everybody else is the Holy Spirit. Like, let's be real clear, right? That you're being wrapped and comforted as it was promised that he would do. But you're in the bandage of your support system because you're wounded and you need to take the time to heal. I do see a lot of people, and I'm about to land this plane. I do see a lot of people leaving one abusive situation and literally jumping right into another because they have been trained. You've been trained just to love Stockholm syndrome. You've been trained to love your abuser. And you're like, it's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. When you're trained like that and you get out of that, you have to meet yourself all over again. Because your whole identity is like, I'm abused and I have catered and tailored myself to this person, this space, this organization. And when I come out of there, we don't know ourselves, sis. We don't know.
It's so true. It's so true, sis. As I'm listening to you, swirling around in my head is a few things. One of which being, when our desire to be whole and healthy and happy is greater than that of our desire to be attached to someone or something.
Say that one more time.
Right? Run it back. When our desire to be whole and healthy and happy is greater than that of our desire to be attached to someone or something, then we will, and we should, and I have, separate ourselves, take some time. I think many of us, I'll raise my hand as well, we're so used to being attached to someone or something that may likely be our abuser. And so then we don't have enough time to clear the fog that you mentioned to see what it is that we deserve, what it is that we are supposed to have, what it is that we are promised from above. And so I know that I've done this, practically speaking, and I implore all of our listeners who are on this journey to do the same. Just take some time to love you, boo. Just take some time to love you the way that you deserve. And I promise you, once you do it, nobody does it better than you except for the one above. Once you do it, it's like you can't go back to accepting anything less than that which you have shown yourself. And so that's what I got for you. I'm living example. Once I stepped into my own worth, I separated, friends, exes, whatever the case is, because I was like, I said, you know what? I have this pattern, right? And we all can be, whether it's in a workplace, abusive, domestic violence, or otherwise, we get stuck in cycles that if we just keep on attaching ourselves to the host of whoever, then we don't have enough time to clear the fog for us to figure out what it is that we want, each one of us. And when we do, we like, you know what? Yeah, I might want to go be with so-and-so. Yeah, I might want a man. I might want this, that, and the third. But baby, your desire to be whole and healthy and happy, when it is greater than the desire to be attached to someone, you will and should find a way to just affirm yourself. That right there is half the battle. I promise you. That's my lived experience.
It is the reality of what it is. And you have to decide that I don't want to be in this situation anymore. Not because my mom, not because because me. I don't want to be here anymore. Oh, I'm just gonna pull up a comment. This is
yes, because I like how you said me, because I me need it. I mean you want it. Nobody else. Like I me need it. See,
mother, brother, sister, auntie. Me, I don't want to be
here. Look, are you gonna pay my bill? Are you gonna sit in this abusive job? No, so it's me. I have to live the life. So me I have to do the work.
Everybody has a comment. Everybody has something to say. Chat. And it's like, yo, hold it. I'm in this situation. And I'm
Pull
gonna
it
pull
up,
up.
pull it up.
No,
Comment, land the plane, all you.
I'm
Whatever
gonna
you
do
gotta do,
that.
sis.
I'm gonna pull up a comment, but I want to say this because the way my brain works, this comment will be in Mars by the time I finish. Right? One, um, our families encourage us sometimes to stay in abusive relationships. Let me be real clear about that.
Mm.
And so, if you're taking the advice, and look, don't say, "Oh, Steph told me." I'm not speaking to any of my clients right now, right? We're talking, we're sharing, right? I'm giving a therapeutic perspective from places that I've seen. A lot of our parents, and based on your origin, based on your nationality, ethnicity, your family members will, oh girl, you won't find anything better. Oh man, she does this. They make excuses for the abuse and you end up staying. So you have to say, for me, in my house, for me, this temple, this house, we're not going to serve abuse. We're going to get out of here. For me in my house, we're going to leave. We're going to be gone. So let me pull up this comment. This is from Lady D. So Let This Mind podcast is in the building. That's the other podcast that I'm on. Healing is so important that we got to talk about it on every perspective, on every platform, on every channel. So you're about to be bombarded with healing. It is what it is. And I know that Lady D is coming from a very real space when saying this. You get used to emotional neglect, but you have to see that this is wrong and that there is better outside of this. You must. Abuse becomes the norm for your life, for your spirit. You go to work and you think about, how can I not be abused? Or what do I need to do? How do I need to reduce myself? Abuse makes you reduce yourself down to rubble. And the building that is you is no more. And you say, I need to now change into another building, another space, until you say, there's sunlight outside of this gray, dark wall. What's over there? What's over there? And until you say, I need to get outside of this, you're going to be stuck in it. And it's like, yo. And after this, and after you get out, right, the aftermath is not being consumed with the anger you feel to yourself, because you're angry that you allowed yourself to be in this situation for so long. See, we're bringing up healing is more than healing is more than a hashtag. We're bringing up all the stuff that we know you're going to feel, that you might be feeling now. You came out of this situation. I'm so upset with myself because I stayed here. Feel all that and then keep moving forward. Keep getting your support. Keep doing your stuff. I can't believe I stayed in this situation. I can't believe I stayed here so long. I can't believe I allowed them to do that. Feel your anger.
Yeah.
Feel your grief, because if you are in an abusive relationship, you're going to feel grief from leaving the relationship, even though if you were beat up and smacked up every day, 4 times a day, the grief is still going to sit on your head, because that's a separation from your reality. See, grief comes when our reality is interrupted. Let's be clear. If you leave a domestic violence relationship, you're going to feel grief. Even though the relationship was bad for you, you were in it. It became your norm, your lifestyle. If you leave a certain organization, a job, a church that you were being abused in, you're going to feel grief. So we're going to be watching out for anger. We're going to be mindful of grief that's going to come. And for those wolves who see a wounded sheep and want to jump on them, right? So we're careful about not jumping into another abusive relationship right when we get out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I will just add, sis, because what you said is just a whole word, extending grace. And that's what I learned to do to myself, because we will say, man, why I'm so dumb. I let myself stay in that. Why I stayed with that dude? Like, oh, he didn't treat me right. Like, why did I do that? So, yeah, we're going to say that because we're human. And, and as Steph said, we're going to feel angry. We're going to feel the feels, feel the grief. All of that is real. And feeling is something that is important, because if we suppress it, it's going to show up anyways. And I know that's what happened to me. I suppressed a lot of emotions from the time I was a young girl, but I'm feeling it now, and I'm embracing it because I want to continue to heal. But the grace part is what I learned, and it's so powerful. Hey, you know what? You didn't know what you now know. So extend the grace, forgive yourself, let yourself off the hook, knowing that you are going to work towards doing better. Yesterday is gone. Today we right here in the present, and then we just working towards the future for a better day, because it's another beautiful day. Each day we are blessed to wake up. So as you were, sis, but you saying I just want to say grace. Just extend yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up, baby.
I love that. We forget about grace, right? And for anyone who follows the Hebrew calendar, we're in the year of 5785. 5 is the number of grace. So right now we're sandwiched in between grace, right? It's like we're in a sandwich of grace. We forget and neglect grace. You're hitting the nail. I mean, not just on the head, you're banging that thing down. We forget to give ourselves grace. We think that, and we're talking from two Black women's perspective, right? We take everything on our shoulders and we give grace to everybody else. But when we're going to pour out the cup of grace and we're pouring out the cup of grace, we pour out the cup everywhere else. And then we leave the last few drop, that little drop of a drop of a drop of a drop.
Little bits.
Little bit, drop. That little drop. We're just trying to like tap the bottom of the, no, we should be pouring liberally grace onto ourselves, right? Yes, we want to extend it to others. Yes, we want to have empathy. Yes, we want to make sure we're pushing out to others. But when that grace boomerangs, we reject it. We put up the block like this, like,
yes.
And when you start to ask why, see, therapists and those who love mental health and those who are advocates of mental health, we peel back the layers like an onion. Yes. Why would I be rejecting grace, right? I have said, okay, I'm in this relationship, now I'm out. Why would I reject grace? Is my worth being questioned? Do I feel worthy of this grace? Do I feel like I deserve this grace? Like, we're talking to domestic violence, those who are in it now and those who survive. You have to be careful that you don't block your grace to yourself, because the grace to others always comes back. You reap what you sow, you put it out, it comes back. I'm like, man, why are they denying this grace? It's worthiness. It's, do I deserve this? My abuser has told me that I'm not worthy, and I have adopted their mindset. So when you come out of abusive situations, we have to also be careful. What mindset did I adopt? Whose words, what language, what script, right? What community and culture of abuse have I taken on? We can be colonized to abuse. All these thoughts are in my head now. Just like the colonizers came to America and Africa, all these places, your abuser colonizes you and tells you how to live, tells you to speak, gives you a new language, a new religion, a new way of life. Have abuser, have you colonized someone? The abused, are we colonized for abuse?
Them take up residence in your head.
Don't
see
they?
Them so. Like them just right, yes, so them live rent free.
They live rent free. They don't pay a lick of money rent free. And they're actually behind on rent. They're 3-4 months behind rent. Hello.
That part.
So it's like, you've colonized and you've assimilated, you've lost your culture, you lost who you are, and you have colonized, you've been colonized to abuse. We gotta break the colonization.
Break it, the cycle. Look, we breaking chains, we breaking cycles. We talking about generational health, wealth, living the life abundantly, right? We not gonna let nobody steal our joy, our happiness. Back then, whatever we dealt with, we just moving forward in healing, in grace, in love abundantly. That's it. We breaking cycles, we breaking chains. None of that no more. Love, look, love and more love. You can't see me look a shirt, love and more love.
You got it. Love. And love of ourselves first, not in a Instagram selfie way.
No.
But I'm going to talk about how I love myself, and I'm going to speak kind and nice to myself. And the way I love myself means that I can love you, Lakeisha. Like the way I love you, girl, is because, man, there's so much love pouring out of me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to extend this, and I want to push this out to everybody, right? Even that's a balance, right? Because when you come out of the abuse, there's so many different pathways and avenues that it takes. It's like a spider web or an octopus, and it just keeps going and going. When you come out of the abuse, you are like, I don't trust myself. So maybe you won't date, or maybe you won't go to another church. Maybe you won't trust another pastor. Maybe you don't want to work anywhere, right? Everywhere you go, you're kind of like shaking, I don't want to go. We have to make sure that the love that we give out to others, the grace, the empathy, man, you mentioned that grace. I'm like, that's the word.
Look, I'm speaking from experience. Like that really, you know what qualifies me? He speaks through me from what I have endured. Like, regardless of my credentials, because we out here, we educated, we Black, melanin popping, educated, this, that, and whatever. But really and truly, he speaks through me. So I speak on what I have gone through that he has allowed me to share. And when I speak on it, I know it to be true, because that's what I have experienced. And grace is something that I've extended to myself. It's easy to say, man, why did I do that? You know what? We make mistakes, forgive. We want to forgive everybody else. We want to forgive the people that hurt us on the job, in a relationship, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, this, that, and the third. Why can we not forgive ourselves? And that speaks to the grace. Like, oh, well, we made a mistake. We picked the wrong guy. We picked the wrong girl. Da, 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 da. Keep it moving. I forgive me. Forgive you. Love you. Love you first. That's it.
You have to love you first. And the reason that we can speak on this is because this is a lesson learned. As Lady D Dominique said, like,
Yes.
this is the lesson learned. And you want to make sure, like, when you're doing a test, when you are going through a quiz, that you are passing this thing so it does not have to come back around. Like, this is our final exam. We're going to pass it so we don't have to repeat this whole course over again. Right. This is a lesson learned. And you know what, sis? I think that helps us not to beat ourselves up so much. Right. That this was a lesson that I had to go through. This is a part and a piece of my journey, right? For those who are currently in it, you coming out, you're coming out. You're coming out of it because you're recognizing your self-worth, and the seeds that are planted are already taking root, and it's going to bloom a forest of self-love in you. So you can know, I don't deserve to be abused. I do not deserve to be talked down to. I do not deserve to have my self-esteem bashed down. No. Right. If your family didn't tell you, if your friend circle, if your friend circle didn't tell you, your friends should be supporting you, and they should be loving on you and encouraging you when you don't have it for yourself. And then when they need it, we give it to them. It's just all reciprocity circled around. If your friends, if your family, if they didn't support you, love you, and let you know that you're amazing and that you're wonderful and that you're fearfully and wonderfully made and you're the apple of God's eye, like all that, we're pouring that on you. We're going to drown you in that.
Yes. Right? Yes.
You got to know that, because it starts in here, that I love me. I'm not self-serving in that way, or I'm not vain. I love me so much that there are things that I will not tolerate. There are friendships that I won't jump into. Relationships, I can't kick it with you. Organizations and places that I can't do it with you because I love myself so much. Exactly. And I know my worth. And I love you so much that I'm not even gonna put up with that. Exactly. When we get to that, something amazing happens, and there's a true door that opens up.
Amen. Amen, sis. Absolutely. One of the things that you said resonated, and it was really when you said, those that are in it right now, you're going to get over it. What comes to my mind, and it's something that I practice what I'm preaching, teaching, however you want to take it, is that of hope. Yeah. Never lose hope. Do whatever you need to do to keep hope alive, as it were, whether it be, hopefully you are a person of faith, and let me say it clear. I'm not talking about the people within a religious organization, church, or whatever that you believe in, not the people. We're not putting our faith in people, because people are fallible, right? But putting your hope and your faith in something greater than yourself. Do everything that you can do, be it, reading certain things that remind you of the hope that is the beautiful day that is to come. Even if the day that you're in is very tough, just know that there will be another day. The hope remains. So whether you got to read something, whether you connect with somebody, right? Because that support system that Steph mentioned is so important, even if it's just one. I understand completely that sometimes there's not people in our lives, whether it be in our family or friend circle, that provide us with the support that we need to heal. Sometimes it comes in ways that are not conventional. Sometimes you may just work with a person that you're like, oh my gosh, every time I'm around that person, they're just watering me with good words. Whatever you can connect to, even if it seems unconventional, hold on to that hope for another day as you work towards this journey of being out of your situation. And if you are in a better healed situation, still stay. Don't get too comfortable, like, okay, I'm healed now. It's a journey. Stay around those people and do those things that continue to water you and nurture your soul, because the enemy, he ain't sleeping. He ain't sleeping. So we can't be asleep on our journey to make sure that we maintain this well-being, this health, this healing, this all of this. So like I said, just as Steph said, that support system, hope. Keep yourself in hopeful, because one of the things that I feel so burdened by is when I see individuals, they look like they've lost hope. I said, ooh, that right there. It doesn't matter how bleak our situation is. when we have hope, then we can work towards a better and brighter day. So please, listeners, just find a way to remain hopeful that you will get out of a situation and you will stay in a healthy situation if you are in one.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just like the nuggets that are being dropped are like, oh my gosh. Because when you lose hope, you stay in situations that you should have been gone from. When hope is not the ingredient in your life, when that's taken out of the mixing bowl and the recipe doesn't have hope, you stay in spaces and places that you really shouldn't be in, that is way below what you should be accepting, right? Like if you're going on a job and they offer you a salary that is way below your expertise, you could have a PhD, you could have went through a grueling master's program, did your internship, did all this stuff, teaching fellowship, all this, and you accept $30,000 to $40,000 lower than what you know you're worth. You've lost hope. You're desperate, right? And some people don't want to be alone. And some people just need community so bad that we're willing to endure and put up with all this stuff. But when hope springs forth and when hope springs up, you're like, you know what? I don't have to accept this, even if it means I'm going to be alone. And even if it means I'm not going to always be the life of the party, I'm not going to be going out and turning up every weekend. Even if it means that I am going to sit with myself and be healed, and I'm going to let hope spring up in me. And really the prayer is this too, that for those who are currently in a domestic violence situation and those who are navigating and flowing out of it, right? You're on the spectrum of it, that your spaces of support would just bump into you, that you would run into like a wall, that you would just knock into your spaces of support, that your destiny helpers, those who are meant to water you, as the keys, you said, water you and pour into you. Those who are meant to do that, you would trip and stumble over them. You would just fall over them. There'll be an accident, no matter how it happens. Two people are walking out of the same restaurant, Starbucks. You bump into someone and then you start a conversation. Come on. You bump into someone's car. You have a minor fender bender and you begin to speak and talk to someone and you realize that that is your destiny helper. See, the Holy Spirit is bumping his people into each other. Oh, I'm in it. I feel it, sis. I feel it.
Yes, you in it.
I'm like,
go ahead, sis. Get it. Like, yes.
No, because here's the thing. When you are so desperate for healing, you don't put a block on the Most High. You don't say, oh, Father, Abba, oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you how to heal me. Oh, I'm going to tell you the way I want to heal. You say, I am open to it. I am tired of this situation. I don't want to be here anymore. Give me my healing in any way you see fit. If it means I need to stub my toe and trip over something, and the nurse that attends to me is the one who's going to help me, she's been through a domestic violence situation. If I have to go to the bank because I had an overdraft fee and I know I got money in the bank, and the teller or the person who's in the bank, like any of those scenarios, we don't put a box on our healing and we don't try to write the script of our own healing. When you want to really be healed, imagine ourselves laying back in a stream and allowing that stream to take us to the ports that we need to go. If you're tired of it, like I want to speak to the core of you who are in it and moving through. If you're tired of it, then be done with it. And yes, it's easier said than done. You're going to bump into your support systems. We claim that. We say yes. That. It is so. Yes. It is so. We put the blood, we plead the blood over that, right? That you are going to bump. I'm looking right into your eyes.
Yes,
you are going to bump into your support
right
system.
At you. Right at you. Yes, yes.
Feel what we're saying and let it penetrate. Don't reject what we're saying because you are worthy of a safe and healthy relationship, romantically, platonically, work-wise, church-wise. Any relationship you can think of, you're worthy of not being abused. That love should be poured out on you.
Amen.
That's the reality of where we are right
now. Amen. That's it right there.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, just sit with that for a minute. You know what I mean? Because
I'm sitting with it. I'm sitting with it because that's it right here.
This everything. Is the Selah, right? This is why I shaped and fashioned my life around the Selah. Because you hear a musical interlude and you hear a lot of stuff going on. You hear all these things and all these things are coming at us. All this abuse, all this hurt, all this pain. We're trying to process through it. Sit down and just reflect and process and hear.
That's a whole word. That's it. Just to sit, be still. Just to sit and be still. I like how you were saying, like, any kind of way, romantically, platonically, job, whatever, just take a pause and just sit and be still. And one of the things that I was hearing too, what you said just kind of spoke to me in the sense of follow his guidance, right? Because sometimes we're like, oh man, my car got messed up. Look, whenever I used to be bothered by car problems, etc., whatever the case may be, but now in my journey, it's like sometimes you have conversations with people that were sent to you to help you with whatever you were dealing with in that moment. So as you were speaking, sis, I'm really standing in agreement with everything you've said, but just in this particular thing that you said, like, let us be open. Let us be open to the doors that can be open for us to move into this space of healing, away from the abuse, away from the toxicity, away from the negativity. Some of us are so used to it that, as was said, it's hard to get out of it. But if we can just be open to that glimmer of light and not just look at everything that happens as like, oh man, shucks, da 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 da. Sometimes we got to stub our toe, as my sis said. Sometimes we got to be in a little car thing, or whatever. And we just got to just sit and be still and see what we could take away from that situation. See if there's people sent to us. See if there is clarity. I find myself gaining clarity in the oddest of times. And I'm like, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. You got jokes.
He's so
you got jokes. I see you got jokes. I see what you did there. But I have to get myself to be still in my mind, because the mind be going. We have 10,000+ thoughts or whatever the number is. We don't have to take captive to all of them. We got to let some of them flow away so that we can have clarity and have the steps forward that we are supposed to take for our well-being.
It's real life, and it is a step, and it is a journey, right? And when you make the decision, and I put up a comment that Dominique said, like the man at the pool, who was waiting years to be healed, and trying to step in that water, and he couldn't get in, and then simple questions are asked, right, by the Messiah, by Jesus, and do you want to be made well? Like, do you want to be healed? Is this something that you want? Because even we're speaking and we're sharing, you know what I mean? And you have to be ready for healing. You have to be at a space where you're like, oh, okay, this is what I want. Do you want to be healed? Do you want to be free? Is this something that you want? And if so, that's how you manifest. I'm not talking about this otherworldly, oh, I'm going to sit here with a white kid. I'm talking about manifestation is just what you sow. And I'm going to have the faith to grab this thing, that I'm watching this thing come to pass, not because I was sitting here chanting, but because I actually knew what I wanted to do. I want to get out of this relationship. I don't want to be abused anymore. So now we're open to all the things coming to us. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to talk to this person. Oh, I'm going to be here at this right time. I might be late for work, but this actually worked to my benefit. When you open yourself up to healing, and when you're like, this is where I want to be, then all of the stuff comes to you. Because if those resources and if those things come to you and we're not in a state or a space to receive it, it's a waste. And it's a missed opportunity. And so when we're ready to receive it, we'll realize that it was always right there. That the space and the pathway of healing was always right there. Always right there. Yes. But we just weren't in a space to see it when the fog clears, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Clears, you're like, yes, this was always here. When our ears get unstopped, when our eyes get clear, when our noses, when our senses begin to come back, because after you get out of that abusive space, you know what I'm saying? We're speaking after you get out, when you're coming out, when you get out. And you know what? I want to take a moment, share this with someone who's in that space now, right? You don't have to tag them if you don't want to, but share it with them privately. Like, share this with anyone who's in this space, because we got to be able to help each other.
Yes.
Like, you have to know that you do have the strength. It's in you. Like, my favorite modality of doing therapy is client-centered, not self-centered, client-centered focus, right? Where I believe that everything the client needs is already inside of you. We just got to stir up the gift. Paul told Timothy, I'm going to stir up the gift that is in you, that was in your grandmother, that was in your mother. We're just here just to stir up the gift. It's already inside of you. And when
Yes.
we're in a space where we can hear, sis, like, when you get out of it, you're like, this was always here. I just
Yes.
I'm so
It's
covered in
true.
it, right?
It's so true. It's so true. Oh my gosh. And I love, as you were saying, to share it, with someone. Um, because that's just a way that we need each other. That's part of what I was leading towards saying, is that um especially in this sort of state of the world, with a lot of, as we are more than a hashtag, as it were. So oftentimes there's a lot of scrolling. I like to say to my students, you're just scrolling. Even you're just mindlessly scrolling. So with that being said, along what you were saying, sis, we need each other, right? So instead of just scrolling and trying to find different reels or whatever the case is, we need to support one another, like in real life. We can utilize social media. I'm not going to be here and be on my soapbox. We can utilize it for positive things, like sharing this episode with someone so that they can hear the word, hear some nuggets, and be activated, if you will, to move in some of the things that we've spoken on. But we need each other. We need each other to share positive things, to speak the word over, to speak life into, because, as I said, as someone who has experienced, some type of assault, we need, it's hard to get out of your own way. It's so hard. I'm gonna be real. It's hard to get out of your own way when you are used to a certain type of behavior and it's become normalized. So to the extent that we as a community can, with gentleness and love, show someone a different way, it helps along that way. Every single person that has shown me love and care and kindness, etc., they have watered me along the way. And so too do I do that as I connect with people, even in a subtle way, even in holding the door, even in saying, to the cashier, how are you doing today? Simple things we can do along our way to pour into people, because we don't know what anybody's going through. We don't know if a person that we interact with is experiencing domestic violence, if they have a loss of a job and they don't know where they're getting their next meal from, how they're going to pay their rent. We don't know, but a little kindness goes a long way in helping a person to keep the hope and the faith alive so that they can work towards another beautiful day.
We started it just like that, right? Come on, I'm with you.
Mic
We
check.
connected in the spirit.
I'm a lyricist, so I just bring it back. Mic check. 1
Come
2 1
on,
2.
1 2 1 2. You know what I mean? I said, "Oh, let me catch this flow." You started and you ended the same way, right? Where you have come out of that space, and there is nothing but gratitude that just hovers over you, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm here to take another breath, because the situation I was in could have taken my life, or I could have taken my own life, right? Because all those feelings come up when you don't know which way to turn and you're being abused mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You don't know which way to turn. You say, okay, this is it for me. I just want to give up. When you can take another breath in your lungs, like that ruach is real in your lungs, and you take a breath, the fact that we can do that and we're here alive to tell the story, I'm like, gratitude fills your whole heart up, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm
Amen.
grateful to be here. Anyone
Amen.
who survived, anyone who's in it and you're coming out of it, yo, we're giving you a virtual hug. Like, you survived, you made it, and we want to celebrate you, and we're grateful for you. We are almost at the end of this episode, believe it or not. Okay, we've been chopping it up.
Wow. Wow.
I know. So I want to give us a space, right, to really affirm those who are in some DV situations and they're coming out. We're already prophetically declaring that over you,
Yes.
right? You're
Yes.
in it now, but your future looks like you coming out of it. And then those who are in it, it might be finding difficulty with navigating the aftermath. It's like a bomb hits, right? And then you have to pick up the pieces of that. You're out of it. You're broken out of it. It's like coming out of jail. You have to be reintroduced to your whole society. So we want to speak and affirm those groups as we wrap up and close up this episode, where we have honored and celebrated those who have survived domestic violence and are encouraging and supporting those who are coming out of it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what ways do we want to affirm them? What's coming up for you? Like what would you say in your wrap up? What would you say to those who are in it and coming out of it and those who happen to now be out of it and navigate their new identity and their new life?
Yeah, so I would say to those who are in it, you deserve love and care. You are beautiful inside and out. You deserve forgiveness.
Mm,
As you give it, you deserve it. You deserve grace. Um, you deserve to be happy and joyful.
yeah.
You deserve to uh, have your mind free of any worry of anyone treating you with anything other than care. Um, you deserve to wake up each day and smell the roses literally and figuratively and have a life that's filled with joy and happiness and purpose and peace. You deserve all of this and more.
Mm. And deserve
And more.
right. So
Heavy on the and more. You
heavy.
deserve, yes,
Yeah.
heavy on the and more. You deserve more than what your mind can imagine.
Mm. Yeah.
You have not even scratched the surface of the beauty that is out there for you in your life.
It's good.
I'm speaking to my little me. I'm speaking to my little me. I'm
Mm.
speaking to that little girl who, even though on the outside it seemed like it was all put together, because oftentimes people they don't
Nope.
see the bottom of the iceberg. They just see the tip and everything looks great and gravy. But a lot of us, particularly Black female, young girls, older, we present like everything is all together, but you deserve more than what your mind can imagine.
Mm. That is good.
Since I was speaking, he speaks through me and I just speak it real. For those who came or coming out of it, you you are enough. You are enough by yourself. Your love of yourself is enough. You're treating yourself out or inside your home or outside your space uh to get whatever you want that makes you happy, that comforts you. You are enough by yourself. You are beautiful. You are deserving. Your happiness is well deserved, and there is more for you as well. There is so much more. This is just the beginning of all of the goodness and the happiness and the joy that you have worked internally, have done the work to get yourself to this space. You should celebrate yourself.
Come on.
You should celebrate for where you have come from, which you have come from. Where you are now is a triumph. You are triumphant for where you are now, having survived, which some sadly have not. You are a beautiful soul who is going to soar so high and shine so brightly. Watch out, world. Watch out.
Mm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful and so encouraging, right? And I had a former pastor who used to tell us about acoustic intelligence. There is a beauty about acoustic intelligence when you speak words and what it does to the atmosphere up here and to us. So
Mm,
this is something that we can go back. We're grateful for live streaming. We can always rewind back, and really allow these words, right? They settled over us, but to be repeating in our minds, in our hearts. And look, we got some affirmation things up on the horizon. We pumping this out because people need to hear this from those who speak the language of healing. And it's beautiful to know that those who have come through can now speak to those who are coming through, right? We don't just race ahead. We turn back and we say, let me give you my hand because someone pulled me through. And so we're helping to wrap up. When you were speaking, I was like, yo, the scripture that was coming in my head, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and neither have entered into the heart, like our hearts, and to that I would apply, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and neither have entered into our hearts the things that we're going to do once we commit to healing.
Amen. Amen. That's
So,
it.
so we take a covenant and we take a commitment to healing, right? That no matter what, no matter how tough it gets, when you're in a relationship with someone and the going gets tough and you want to leave and you want to be done, no matter how tough it gets, that we're going to stay the course and we're going to remain committed and in covenant to healing. That
Amen.
is our diet. That is the food we consume. And that when we're healing, we're allowing ourselves to re-meet ourselves. So that's what I would say. Make space to be reintroduced to yourself, and your new self isn't going to look like your old self, and your old self is going to want to keep coming up. Allow and make space for your new self to come forth, your new identity after healing to come forth. If you're in it, you're coming out of it, and you are worthy of real, sincere love. Like, you're
Amen.
worthy of someone seeing you as a treasure. You're worthy of someone seeing you as beautiful, as wonderful. This is for males and females, right? Because it's not just women who go through domestic violence and abuse. Males are in it as well. Men experience it too, right? You are worthy of being loved without it hurting.
Amen.
Love does not hurt. It can be hard. There's not a pain that should come with it in a way, right? Not to the point where we are losing ourselves. So it's okay to lose yourself, because the new you you're going to find is who's going to take you into your next level. And as we grow and we go, allow yourself to bump into your support. Allow yourself to be open to being healed no matter what. If you take a covenant to healing, we don't get to drive the car of healing. We're just a passenger. So allow yourself to be a passenger. Make sure that because you were controlled, you don't try to control every single thing. We're cautious and we're careful. Be wary of anger that's going to come, grief, and give yourself grace. I'm just saying what my sis said. Give
Amen.
yourself grace liberally. Pour it on yourself. Grace upon grace upon grace. We're in the year of grace. We thank you so much for tuning in and hearing and commenting and sharing and tagging people. We are appreciating you and you being here, you taking time out of your day to just log on, and we're in this together. Whether we've been in a domestic violence situation, we all know someone who has been, whether it's us, whether we're in it now, we're all in this together. You have support. You're not alone. Contrary to whatever your abuser is telling you, you are not alone. You have support. Reach out to us. We're here for you. We want to hear from you. And you know what? If you want to send a comment to us, do that too. Like, if you want to say, "Oh, this touched me," maybe you're shy, you don't want to say it in the public comments. You reach out to us. You have a suggestion, like, reach out to us. We want to hear from you. We want to interact with you. You know what I mean? This is a space where we're sharing with everybody. We've been healed and we're healing, and we're turning around and saying, "Look, we've been here. Let's all go together." Lakeisha, I love you so much. It was so good to chop
I
it up.
love you so much, Steph. Thank you so much.
This was so great. So until next time, we'll be back for episode 3 in 2 weeks from now. Okay. But reshare this, repost this. We're going to have little clips from this, but we have to get this and we have to know our worth. And that's how you heal after abuse, right? You say, I can do this because I'm committed to this. So remain committed no matter what type of abuse you experience. Remain committed to healing, and we'll see you next time. Love you.
Love you.